All right, here we go. Rodney James here for MMASoldier.net. You know who this is, Gray Maynard, UFC featherweight. He's got a fight coming up at UFC 229 here in just a couple of days, man. You're stepping on the scale in 2 days. Thank you for meeting with me.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. So what brings you to the gym today, man? It's pretty hardcore. You're training all the way up until 2 days before weigh-in.
You know, it's all easy stuff now. All the work's in. So you know, now it's just trying to keep your body loose. You know, you can't be on the couch all the way up until the fight. So it's just keeping your body loose, keeping the blood, you know, just kind of keeping the blood, you know, flowing, and
I guess keeping your mind right too is part of it.
Keeping your mind right and just getting that weight off.
Yeah. How do you think you match up with Nik Lentz? I think it's a good fight. And how did it come together?
You know what? They threw out a couple names like Clay Guida.
Yeah, which you've been there, done that.
Yeah. I forgot who else, but then you know, and all of them were cool for me, but a little bit of a schedule conflict for a couple other guys. But then threw out Nik Lentz. Like, yeah, let's do it, and he wanted to do it, so
it's great to be on the hometown card too.
Yeah.
To travel and
no, I love. This is like even if I wasn't from here, it'd still be the best place to fight. I think you can eat all night, you can go out, have drinks afterwards or whatever. It's just a cool town to compete in.
It is. It's a great place to be. I love it. I love it too, man. I know you've been here a lot. Are you from here originally? Where are you from originally?
Yeah, I mean, I moved around a little bit, like as a kid, but got here when I was around 10, and then grew up here, and then like moved around for college, and you know, a lot of different stuff. So.
And you went. I wore my Michigan State shirt for you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
This is a nice shirt. So any excuse I get to break it out, you know, I have a lot of family up in Michigan.
Yeah.
And actually, Lansing, Michigan is where I joined the Army way back in 2000. So,
nice.
And you were there for a bit at Michigan State. How was that? Was that a culture shock coming from Las Vegas to Michigan? It's a different place.
It's definitely a different place. I actually left here after my 10th grade year to go to an all-boys school in Ohio. So that kind of broke me in a little bit to the snow and the cold.
Yeah.
And then I, of course, I was up at State for about 5 years, and it was a cool school, man. It was a good time, you know, great people out there, and you know, I go back, you know, still a couple times a year.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I have family there, so I like to visit every once in a while. But I've had my share of snow, and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So I read somewhere you were roommates with Rashad Evans.
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was my buddy. He was on my team. He came in like my sophomore year. He went to junior college, and he came in, and we just kind of hit it off, and he's my boy.
Still stay in touch with him?
Yeah, every now and again. We get busy, man. You start having kids. It's hard to keep in touch, and you know, guys are the worst. It's like, I think I talked to him a couple years ago. That's enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of having a family and building it, you just built a house too, right?
Yeah, we moved into a new house, you know, and
kind of up north, kind of in my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Way up same north. Landscaper.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. We moved in September. We kind of had to upgrade just because. You know, another baby on the way.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah,
Congrats.
Growing family, and we had the baby end of January, so he's like 8 months now.
Awesome.
Got a boy and a girl.
Very good.
So
me too. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Isn't
Done.
it?
Done. No
same.
more.
Yeah, same. Cool, man. You know, you mentioned Clay Guida, and that's interesting because I wanted to bring that up. You've been. Through no fault of your own, you've been paired up with some really awkward pairings before that have ended up in some kind of weird fights, like with Clay Guida, for example.
Yeah.
You know, which you won a split decision, which I thought was crazy because I was like, he didn't fight, he ran.
Yeah.
This is going back to 2012, I think.
Yeah, 2012,
and then
I think.
You had you had another one with Ryan Hall where he just kept flopping to his back repeatedly.
Well, you know,
Very strange.
Clay Guida, we were preparing for All Out War. You know, he kind of felt my power early, and you know, he was just trying to get through it. You know, I think I swolled up his eye real quick, and I don't think he was in there to win. He was just in there to kind of keep it close, and it turned out to be a split decision. You know, like, and I don't understand that judging at all. You know, and like I kind of threw a fit in the cage. I, you know, kind of egged him on, like, here, hit me, and that might have helped on the cards, you know, because then I go up against Hall, and we knew he wasn't a pressing fighter. We knew he had a couple kicks, and he you know, he dove for the ankles a lot, and there was one fight where he was going for takedowns on the TV show, you know, and the guy beat him. He just had a lot of holes opened up because he was going for stuff. That's the problem with the risk is like you open yourself up, but that's also how you get the reward too, you know, is by pressuring a person, opening up, you know, to open him up. And so we kind of studied his tape, and, you know, we knew the ankle locks and we practiced all that stuff, but we asked the ref right before, hey, what if he keeps going to his butt? And he goes, that's timidity, and I will penalize him.
That's right.
So right then we're like, oh, okay, like, this will work out good. If he goes to his butt, I don't have to go down, because we were already planning on getting down there and, like, doing all the jiu-jitsu stuff. But you know, and then it happened during the fight, and the part that threw me off was the couple times that I did have an opening to attack. You know, he turned his back and ran, like, literally turned and ran away.
Yeah,
and
very bizarre.
I mean, I really don't know how you fight a person who does that. And I mean, if I would have watched a tape of me and him, I would have turned down the fight. You know, I would have totally turned down the fight. And, you know, I just checked out an article he did because he's got, I think, BJ Penn, but he said he's been trying to get a fight for 2 years and nobody will take it. And it's like, he thinks it's because of, like, his style is hard to go up against. It's just, it's not that it's hard to go up against. I mean, there is no style. There is no fight. Like, how can the judges score that to a person that doesn't fight? Like, we sign contracts, we fucking put in training, and now, like, we're doing a judging off, like, 10 kicks, like, thrown.
It's almost like he's wanting to compete in a jiu-jitsu tournament where it's a cage
fight.
fight.
Yeah, and I understand BJ Penn, why he took that fight is because, all right, I'll do jiu-jitsu for $300,000 or however much he's getting paid.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Yeah, but nobody else is going to take that fight because it's, you know, and for the judges to allow that, you know, and the ref to allow it, it's just kind of mind-boggling.
I was very surprised. Like, I honestly, and I'm not just saying that because here, I watched that fight and I was like, okay, great, clearly won the fight. Like, how do you possibly give the fight to the guy who didn't?
I mean, and I'm not sitting here saying I clearly won or whatever, but there was no fight. Like, how can you allow it to happen to where there is no fight? There's no action. Yeah. There's a guy sitting on his butt, like, a lot of the round, and then there's a guy throwing a kick and then running along the cage, like, when a person attacks him.
Yeah,
like that's not a
fight.
Away.
Yeah, it should be.
You know, and there was a couple times that he kicked me, like, it was a kick like to my jaw. And anytime you've ever gotten kicked in practice, like clean head kicks, you fucking feel it, dude. Like, you're like, whoa. His kicks, like, even if I got it in the head, he was already retreating before it landed. You understand? So there was nothing on it.
No impact.
There was no impact. There was no damage. I mean, it's mind-boggling that, you know, and I really feel like BJ Penn is going to make a bigger deal about it. You know, if that fight happens, you know, he'll make a bigger deal about it. And, you know, I know the refs all talked about it, and, you know, I called the commission after the fight.
Really?
You know, yeah.
Did the UFC ever talk to you? Did somebody come to you and say, hey, look, you know what, that's technically is an L, but don't even worry about your job?
Yeah, Dana called me after, and,
really?
And he didn't really talk.
He doesn't like guys who don't
he didn't
fight.
really talk about it too much, but he called me after, and you know, I'm just like, hey, dude, I'm sorry about that performance, because anytime you get boos and it's just you know, you're not pleasing a boss, and you're not. You know, and you do have a boss in this sport. Your boss is the audience, and your boss is Dana, Lorenzo, you know, and now like a whole new team coming in, and you know, so you want to please everybody, but you also want to do all the stuff you've trained to do, you know. And if it's not a fight, it just doesn't. Like, I don't understand how you score something like that, you know.
Yeah, so I think with this one, I think with Nik Lentz, I think it's a good matchup all around stylistically. Because I mean, this is a guy that does come to fight.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know that he's necessarily known for his punching power, but he's a good grappler, right?
Yeah. He gets in there and scraps. He takes he's kind of the meat and potatoes. You know, he can punch. He can take a punch. He's got a good guillotine that he jumps into as much as he can. Tries to take people down, you know, so just kind of standard, like, skill set, you know, kind of nothing really stands out, but he's just good across the board. So, you know, we prepared in all areas.
And how are you feeling overall in your last few fights? Because I worry about you. You know, you had 3 knockouts in a row, and like the one with Diaz was pretty bad. Man, how much punishment can you take? But yet you still got back in there. You've been successful. So tell me kind of how you're feeling.
You know, like after my title fight with Edgar, the one I lost, I ended up going up to San Jose area, Santa Cruz, San Jose area. Trained up as AKA for a little bit, and you know, it was a great experience, and but I had like a lot of other stuff going on. I remodeled this house, and like bought this house pretty close to the beach, remodeled it, had a baby. So those three TKOs, you know, with TJ Grant, Diaz, and then like Ross Pearson.
Yeah, Ross Pearson.
You know, I really feel it was more about just not being prepared, and I just got hit on the butt. And you know, there was never a time I got stiffed and I was fucking, you know, out completely. It was all just like, oh, got hit on the butt, and oh, here comes the flurry, and talking to myself, you know. So to me, it was never like where I got back in the gym and I was getting dropped in the gym like all the time. You know, you get guys who you know who get a bad knockout, and then they're back here training and just getting dropped, and they used to never get dropped or something.
Yeah,
like
or
those,
they just kind of
like those were the only 3 like real times I've ever gotten like dropped, even in practice, you know.
And even in the aftermath, you didn't feel like, you know, you lost a step. You kind of felt like you were back to. Yeah.
And I went back, and you know, I always kind of took some time off, and you know, took a little bit of, you know, all the precautionary stuff, and you know, tried to do the hyperbaric chamber like right afterwards, But no, I never felt any symptoms, you know, or a change in like, wow, I'm getting rocked easy now. You know, just kind of feel like it was just not being prepared, you know, and doing stuff I don't do in a fight. Like, you know, and I can kind of pinpoint it. TJ Grant, I switched stance, and he kind of, he picked up on that in my Clay Guida fight. You know, I switched to southpaw, and he caught me right there, you know, because my defense was pretty bad on southpaw at the time. Diaz, I just had my hands down. You know, I took that, I don't know why I took that fight easy. I was remodeling a house, and like I remember trying to work on my house all day and then going to practice. I mean, it just really was it was a shit show at the time.
Yeah.
And like you watch a tape, and I like literally shoot like right into his punch, you know. And then the Pearson fight, I just flew, and my feet stopped working, and he just capitalized on it. So, you know, it is what it is, and you know, just got to keep going.
Yeah, and so you're one of the long time, you know, stable horses here at Extreme Couture. But as you mentioned, you kind of left for a while, sort of did some soul searching, went through some other, you know, got some different looks.
Yeah.
And then you came back here. And,
Yeah.
How is it nowadays, you know, compared to the old days? And,
Yeah.
and how do you feel being here now? Do you feel back at home?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's awesome. Like, we went through a lot of coaching here before. We had Tompkins, we had a lot of different coaches, and then it kind of turned into a little bit of, you know, people just bringing people here to spar, you know, and which was good. We got a lot of different looks, but, you know, like all the core guys who are here all the time, you know, like we turned in to be like more sparring partners, you know, for whoever wanted to come in and then leave, and then we're here helping out everybody else. So, you know, it got to be a little hectic, and then, you know, I left and I came back, and they really got it, you know, glued back together to where it's everybody helps each other, you know, everybody's here, you know, kind of day in and out, and it's a team atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, Eric, he did a great job. He stayed here, and Cepho, you know, they pulled the team together, and it's a great place to train.
Yeah, and I've heard that about the old days, you know, and
Yeah.
and I can see what you're saying now, because it's such a great room, and there's so much talent, so many great coaches, and you really do get all the looks you need.
Yeah.
Man, I wish you the best of luck here on Saturday night.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro.
I'll be downtown watching the fights, and we'll see when you get back. All right.
Yeah.
On your victory lap. What are you gonna do after the fight? What do you normally do? Do you hang around and watch the fights? Do you go out and party? You're a family man now.
Yeah. I go home. Yeah, I go home, eat a good dinner. Yeah, just kind of hold my daughter and kick back and relax.
Sometimes that's the best place in the world to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, that's Gray Maynard, everybody. UFC 229. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, buddy.
Appreciate you so much, man.
No worries.